Horror Obsessive presents. One of the best things that can happen to a big budget horror film is when it has the ability to dethrone mainstream movies. Such was the case for Scream 5. While there was nothing inherently wrong with the big budget superhero dumps that have been made to cash in a quick buck on overdone IPs, it's always refreshing to see when something of substance can take away that coveted spot of being number one at the box office. Props to Spider-Man No Way Home for hitting that $1 billion mark, but it's not really warranted. What was, though, was the popularity of Scream 5. Nearly outdoing Scream 4's entire box office gross of $38 million, Scream 5 was poised to hit $35 million in its first 4 opening days. Whether you're a fan of the franchise or not, there's something to say about a property like Scream doing as well as it did. Leaving the theatre and entering the sunny, though incredibly cold streets, I couldn't do anything but feel weird. I was holding the idea of Scream 5 in higher regard than Scream, which is one of my all-time favourite movies. So, is Scream 5 better than Scream? This led me down a weird mental rabbit hole of questioning myself. Could it possibly be better than the original? I mean, yeah, sure, technically it could, but should it? I wanted to explore the idea of whether it can, whether it should be, or if it was even possible. From a technical aspect, anything can be better than its predecessor, but what about subject and content-wise? I think to work through this conundrum together, we have to make some comparisons and look at their dissimilarities. Before we get started, though, you should know there will be heavy spoilers throughout. It would probably be best to start with the meta-ness of Scream 5 because at its core, Scream was a commentary on the slasher subgenre and made being meta and horror cool. There have obviously been meta horror films before, but it wasn't until Scream, for me at least, that it was made accessible. There are so many jokes in Scream that are solely based around being meta to be understood, which leads to a certain charm, and the same could be said about Scream 5. As with every Scream film, the opening high-profile actor is getting toyed with by our respective Ghostface. These scenes are highly referential and bloody as hell. For the majority of the films in this series, there is always this wild, fun, referential opening. The opening of Scream 5 takes this idea and runs with it. Elevated horror has been a hot topic in the genre community for the past few years. Some people hate it, some say it might not even exist, and others, like myself, love it. There is something about creating a horror film that is more about scaring you emotionally rather than endless blood and jump scares that has taken a somewhat tired genre and brought life back into it. The lion's share of these elevated horror films tend to be more slow burn, deliberate and raw, which some horror audiences don't seem to have the attention span for. So the fact that Scream 5 took that continuous topic and made the opening all about it is amazing. One of the greatest lines in the movie is when Tara Carpenter says, "I still prefer the Babadook," which got a good-hearted belly laugh from me. The opening from Scream subverted the tropes of a horror film opening by killing off one of the top-billed actors immediately, but Scream 5 does not do that. They spare Tara. Right off the bat, we are made aware that Scream 5 will not follow the formula that the previous 4 had spent so much time making. With the exception of Scream 2, where Randy Meeks gets killed, Scream 5 takes the legacy characters Sidney Prescott, Gail Weathers and Dewey Riley and actually puts them in peril. This is exemplified when Mindy Meeks Martin gets her Randy moment to provide us with the rules of the film. Unlike Scream 3 and 4, this rule scene gets back to the heart and soul that the respective scenes carry in the first 2 films, making it entertaining rather than boring and derivative. The biggest emotional beat we get in this film is when we get the typical Dewey gets attacked by Ghostface scene that we have become accustomed to, and unfortunately, he doesn't make it out alive. This takes us out of the tongue-in-cheekness of the previous Screams and shows that the film is not messing around and will do any and everything it wants to. And not to mention the cinematography is astounding. The things that happen here with the camera work in Scream 5 are leaps and bounds more impressive than the previous 4 films combined. This makes the film feel fresh, new and accessible. It feels like the type of film that can get a whole new generation of film viewers to fall in love with the genre. There is so much more to Scream 5. For example, how they go back to Stu's house for the final anxiety-filled moments of the film, making us nostalgic for the denouement from Scream, or how Billy Loomis is Sam Carpenter's father, or the constant references about how you have to shoot the killer in the head to make sure they're truly dead. There are so many beats from the first film that come back into play at multiple points throughout, which leads me to my opening question. Is Scream 5 better than Scream? On a technical level, yes, it's a more competent film. But can it be better than its predecessor? That's what I have been racking over in my brain. I want to say yes. I want to say that because I personally enjoy Scream 5 more than I enjoy Scream. But I can't find myself saying that. Well, I can, but it feels wrong. At the very least, Scream 5 will generate conversation for years to come. Radio silence did Wes proud.